Carmine, Gemei here with Beth, Hoole, and Beth. It's Championship Sunday. The #1 overall in the country, Gamecocks women, taking on the #8 in the country, LSU Tigers, in a rematch of what was the closest game South Carolina had in the regular season. They only beat LSU by 6. Of course, yesterday they won by just 1 point on Camila Cardoso's heroics over Tennessee. What are you expecting to see here in the championship game with LSU?
I'm really excited about this one. I know this is one that the nation has been looking forward to since these two last met. In that tight game at LSU, that was a game that garnered all of the attention. It was a national spotlight. It was college game day for their basketball swing, and so it was huge. It was a lot of fun. I'm really interested to see how this one plays out. LSU has been depleted. LSU has a limited roster, and then last night, of course, that gut-wrenching concussion that Poa sustained. She was carted off, taken to the hospital last night. She was reported to have had feeling in her extremities, which was some concern because she had struggled to walk off of the court. Our prayers remain with her, and I know that South Carolina's doing well. Their team was here watching the game as that moment happened, but interested to see what sort of depth that LSU is going to be able to generate. Staying out of foul trouble is going to be tough in this one because these are both two really physical teams, and then this is a very competitive matchup between these two. So I think that's going to be an interesting aspect, managing that physicality and how the refs decide to call it, which is always an added factor in all of this, you have to remember. And then South Carolina, how they're able to respond from yesterday. That tight game, they admitted it wasn't their best game, but we've seen it time and time again, and we talked about this with them afterwards. They improved on their turnovers. Now they need to improve on holding on to that lead, and really it was their defense which has carried them so well throughout this entire season, and it was the defense that faltered a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, it was, and especially in that end of the second quarter and second half when they had that 23-point lead, letting it slip. And you mentioned the turnovers. They had 24 of those in game 1. The win over Texas A&M cleaned that up, try to clean this up. And I really think that foul trouble is huge because when you have the centers and power forwards battling underneath Camila Cardoso for South Carolina, and then Angel Reese fouling out. You remember in the end of the fourth quarter, in the regular season meeting between these two teams, that was, kind of the turning point. When Angel Reese fouled out, LSU was right there. And then they lost by 6 in the end. So.
Well, and we saw teams target Aaliyah Boston last year in that same way, really wanting to target her and limit her ability to be in the game, put her in some foul trouble, so she had to go sit on the bench. That's what Iowa did to them in the Final Four. And so I'm interested to see how South Carolina goes at Angel Reese. I don't think Dawn Staley's quite the type to be malicious and trying to, but that's part of the game as well. And Angel is going to reach, if they can catch her, put somebody with some speed on her, create some mismatches so that her feet can't quite keep up with maybe a Malaysia, maybe a Bree, maybe a Pow, maybe a Raven, like somebody. I mean, go down the list of these fast players that South Carolina has, and then to see how some of those lineups can really attack, because LSU will not have the numbers to switch the lineup along with South Carolina, who has at least 8 different lineups that they can run with at any time. Absolutely thrilled for this one. Can't wait to see it happen.
And speaking of those lineups, we've also seen Tessa Johnson come on strong off the bench. Freshman guard, great player, and she's the second leading scorer for the Gamecocks in this SEC tournament. So we'll see if South Carolina can win its 8th tournament title in the last 10 years here against LSU. All the coverage online and on TV at boxcarolina.com.
Tonight on the 10 o'clock news.
That's right.